Whatnot.
All right, Kang and Lucan,
Whew.
what are your thoughts on this one?
Oh boy. So we were discussing it pretty heavily on the sidelines there. That's what we believed could have happened in that game, as well as a lot of how it did come down to execution. Um, I think the biggest thing, strictly for this game, was that it was really on Sean to do a lot more than what he did. I'm gonna be honest. There's a world where you are going to be relevant in your execution in how you play the team fights, and then there's the world where Sean decides to, for some reason, walk forward and ult into four people when your main form of handling the engage of GFG is to just back off and follow into them and possibly even just wait for items to be picked up to make yourself more relevant for that fight. But yeah, King, what's your takeaway on this one?
I mean, yeah, I think casually formed just bit a little bit too early. I think, obviously getting soul point on the side of George Foreman Grill sucks, but casually formed their top three only having an item and a half, where George Foreman Grill having two items. I think they could have at least waited until Soul, just getting that extra 5 minutes to farm up, get your items to maybe equalize your stats a little bit more. Could have helped them in the long run. I think just fighting too early was my biggest complaint, but obviously there were things that they could have done in the fight that they did take to execute a little better. I just think that the Red Bull analyst desk decided that casually informed comp would be better if they kited out the team, but they just ran into the pit thinking that they could 5v5 engage. I don't really know what that was, but
I I mean, we did mention the fact that George Foreman's grill composition is a lot easier to execute. That is something that we mentioned, and the Zac and the Orange specifically, super easy to execute. You basically just go in, and when you have so much backup, right, it's so easy to execute. And on the other hand side, a Rumble, not easy to execute.
No,
We saw the mismanagement there from the heating, or the overheat.
there was a
Um,
flash into an overheat was
yeah,
specific
yeah, it
play
was
that I
rough.
saw.
It was rough. But no, seriously, like George Foreman's grill and Casually Reformed's composition had like some very similar parallels. But I believe that at the end of the day, George Foreman grill does have an easier execution. And the fact that Casually Reformed got caught out by the Zac so much in the early game, just completely disregarding jungle, I think is like a mistake that we're seeing a lot. Like
Yep.
a lot, a lot. Like even on George Foreman's grill side at the beginning of the game, their jungler is top sides. They know that the other team's jungler is on the bot side, and they're just trading super heavily, and then they just get dove. Like,
I think there
this
was
just
like
happens a lot.
there was two sequential TPs when the bot lane was just
Yeah,
pushing
yeah,
without
on
having
the
no reason to
same
be
bush
pushing.
ward, on the
Yeah, the
same bush
same one.
ward.
Yeah. Two different members, two separate TPs, four kills. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was something. I guess my next discussion here, and I have a lot of ideas for how they could do it, but it's how does casually reformed. What does casually reformed take away from this? Because I'm gonna be honest, on GFG side, you're like, wow, we just won. Like we can just do the same thing over again. On CR side, they're gonna have to rethink
oh,
and bring it back to the draft and think about how they're gonna handle this because, in my opinion, they're not playing towards their strengths. And that was one of the biggest issues that I had with when I saw the Rumble pick. As much as I discussed it with Sean before the game, and he even told me, which I didn't throw it on the desk. He's like, I've been playing some Rumble. He's been playing some other stuff, which I'm not gonna throw out there. But I think he needs to go back to what he's strong on and what it has worked for his team in the past. In my opinion, that's been the Sejuani. That's been the tankier, more gank heavy picks that he's picked in the past, whether that's picking up the Ivern or the Nunu, and sticking to those where he can just power gank over and over again for his team, provide a ton of pressure, and then just do something with it. Because on the Rumble, man, he was in the jungle a lot. Like that's what I can say about him in that game.
yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to see I'd like to see him
Like,
shift that up because he really can be a staple for his team, but when he's not, it definitely shows that they're coming apart at the seams. So
Yeah,
Yeah, what do
I
you
don't
guys have to
know.
say?
I'm sure if you've seen casts in the past, you know I love Sean. I think Sean is a really skilled player, but man, those Rumble ults made my eyes bleed. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I
I'm
think if
pretty sure you're
CR wants to
yelling at
win
one
game
point.
2, they need to just not put him on Rumble. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm sorry, Sean. I love you, but man, that one hurt to watch.
So yeah, that's what I got to say. Just take it back to basis. What I want to see as far as it goes on my side, I want to see Sean heavy gank. I want to see Royal on something he can be relevant on. As far as it goes, maybe even something earlier than the Kale, because the Kale's going to take a while to get up to the point of where it's going to be relevant. Like leaving yourself until level 16. Like I know you can concede that lane, and I know that like it might be brought up that Cirrus fundamentally would be a better player, but I got a feeling that Royal's the better aggressive player in taking advantages of things early, and you're gonna have to play to that style. Play with your jungler, move up, and play that. Outside of that, on GFG's side, on George Foreman, like they've got everything they need. Let's see what they do, and also take away the Lulu. Dear God, take away the Lulu. Don't let it in the game. I don't care if you want to bring it onto the side of a CR and you guys want to pick it up. Like I don't think that plays to Murphy's strengths. Just get rid of Lulu. Get it out of there. Leave Senna up. I don't care. Lulu's should not have been in that game. That first
Right.
pickup solidified the fact that they could never really play with it. You'd watch Daniel just jump into a fight and then you'd watch him
Yeah.
immediately get polymorphed, and he's like, "Well, I'm here, guys, and I'm not using my ultimate." And that was the end of every single fight that they had. So yeah, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I actually talked about the Lulu pick with Chronicler. He's one of the casters for the LCK. And we talked about how Lulu works, and basically the reason why we haven't seen Lulu in MSI yet, even though she's a pretty powerful pick, is just because right now, in like the top tiers of play, Lulu is she's not an engaged support, and right now most team comps almost always have their engage on the support. Like the
Yeah,
support is the engage. Like it's the same thing, right? You're playing Leona, you're playing Alistar, you're playing Rel, and if not any of those champions, you're playing like Braum, which is like it's basically negating whatever. Basically, the reason why Lulu isn't picked usually is because you're giving away some engage. But in this game, they had a lot of engage, so it worked out great.
yeah. Within the condensed CECS meta that we got going on here, I feel like it'd be best to just take it out of it. Just take it out of the equation.
Yeah.
It's too strong to play with how easily you can just reverse Uno card everyone anyone's engaged that they want to do. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I gotta say. That's what I'm sticking with. Outside
Right.
of that, I guess we'd bring it on to the next draft if we got that ready and see what these teams are going to be bringing out. I'm not
On
sure where we're going to see anything else going from here. I guess we're going to have to leave it up to how they actually execute this. Do we have a lobby set up? How we doing?
Unfortunately, League Client is doing the thing that League Client does, and
Oh,
it kicked us all from the lobby. Sorry, everyone. Just some classic League of Legends technical difficulties.
Nice.
I think everyone is just going to have to relog. So it will just be a few more moments.
okay.
It's up to the analyst desk if you guys want to cut to break or if you guys want to just analyze through it.
Okay. Then let's talk because we've been talking a lot about CR. I'd like to continue on with the analyst desk here for just a little bit
Yeah.
longer. Let's talk about the GFG side of things. We didn't see the two primary picks that we thought we were going to see out of support, and if we're taking the assumption here that we're going to be removing Lulu from the playing field on either one of these sides of uh, the draft here, because we are going to have CR going on to blue side, and we're going to be having George Foreman Grill on red side. Um, what do you think they're going to be picking up based on the picks that we've seen previously? Um, I do believe we could still expect to see Bog on an Enchanter. I think that's a fair assumption. But we did see that he had the Zillion and the Yumi with more than relevant win rates. Is one way to put it.
Yep.
I think it was 70 or like 69 on both of those champions individually. What do
Nice.
you think those would bring to the table?
Well, in my humble opinion, the problem with the Zillion pick and the Yumi pick is that you kind of require kind of like a hyper carry down in that bot lane. So it kind of depends on Zizzers more than on what Bog actually wants to play. I mean, of course, feel free to play whatever you want, Bog, but the viability of a 2v2 bot lane depends a lot on the synergy in between both. Some good picks with Zillion are Ashe. Ashe is pretty decent with Zillion because you kind of have like a very crowd control heavy and long team fights, long 2v2 type of scenario where Ashe can really shine. Other picks include Ezreal is fine, Vayne with Zillion is okay. Caitlyn with Zillion is quite decent actually, and Zizzers has played a bit of the Caitlyn, so that's a pick that we can consider. But the Yuumi, on the other hand, pretty cheese pick, and pretty much only works with Ezreal, Twitch, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I would like to see Nash set up for the Zillion bombs in lane. I
Yeah.
see them doing pretty well for that. But outside of that, I guess in reality, we really have no idea what these teams are going to be picking up here.
Yeah.
I mean, like two of the picks on CR surprised everything about them. I was not expecting a Kale. I was kind of expecting a
Yeah.
Rumble. Honestly, I got what I expected out of the Rumble. And then going forward from
Okay.
there, I want to say like we mentioned the Zach pick, which was very relevant. Swark basically made that game his at like every stage in where he was going. He controlled the map almost completely. But a lot of that, to be fair, was also because he was fairly uncontested. So
We are set up. We can send it to draft when send it draft. I think the players are just getting in it right now. Sorry, everyone, about the delayed timing on this. Obviously, if you guys play League, you know how the League client is, and you know that this is something that we all have to suffer in peace. As they are getting into draft for the second game, as GP is taken up is the first ban by CR.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
So pretty standard bands coming out, I think.
Yep.
Just one thing that I think Casually Formed could do is maybe a double AD comp. I don't want to say too much, just in case George Foreman are listening, but double AD is something that Casually Reformed can pick. So we'll see if they go that route. Lulu banned though, so not gonna have double AD carry with the hyper support boosting you
yeah.
up.
GOG actually banning the Lulu on their own as the Kaisa B1. Could be good from
First
casual
pick?
reformed. Wow, that's
I-
crazy. Are we in fucking excuse me my French. Are we in MSI or what? Sorry.
Are we in a non-professional league, amateur league here, or and then there's a zillion? So
There you go.
Bog wanted to prove me right in the fact that he was going to pick up his champ here. I didn't mention it earlier, but he did say that he was going to definitely pick it if it was left up. And they picked up a Draven with it.
Okay,
I
This-
am ready for some spice.
It's
And I'm like, okay. I don't know what they're doing. They're
playing
throwing out
with
the
our
expectation. I have
emotions.
no idea what they're gonna. And there's Okay,
They're gonna
we
be
got-
boring. Okay.
Boring. Come on.
Alright.
This is the most unique bot lane we've probably seen all season. Outside of actually the last one, I think also came out of GFT as well too with the Senate Shogun.
No, it was Son of Vladimir. Come on.
Oh yeah, sorry. No, that was more unique.
That is legendary.
Big biceps really
That is-
flexing
Yeah.
there. That's for sure.
All right, so this is the most unique bot lane we've seen without just outright losing the game for their team. Has
Leona. Okay.
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 all right, so
Okay.
I can safely say as someone who has played several hundred games on Zillion support, I one-tricked him for a while. Leona Kaisa is a hard lane, but it is absolutely doable for GFG.
Okay, I'm liking. Taking away from that for just a moment here. Oh, hey, it's just Stefano on screen. Taking away from that for just a moment here. We do now have Sean on his signature pick. which I would hope would mean that we're going to be seeing a little bit more of their play style
Hey.
that I believe can shine through here coming together. But like this is also a very unorthodox team coming from GFG. Just strictly looking at the bot lane right now, what are they going to be following up with the bans here, guys? Like what are we looking at as expectations to maybe dissuade them from doing what they're trying to do right now?
I imagine that it's going to be a heavily focused bans from both teams. We saw just about the same draft order last time. Both teams have a high priority on that mid counter pick, and I wouldn't expect it to be any different. As CR actually goes to ban the Gnar, which is an interesting choice. It didn't seem like, or it seemed rather like the Ornn was quite a big issue on itself, and Victor is the final ban, so we do get the 3 out of the 4 mid lane bans as Yon gets picked up for GFG.
Oh boy! All right,
And
the
I
serious
imagine
Yone
that's going
there.
to the mid lane.
Okay, so I do know that Royal has a way to deal with this. I don't know if we're going to see it in this game per se.
I think he does too. I think I
but
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so we'll see if he's going to bring out his answer to it. But the other side of this here too is that if you have paid attention, there's the echo. If you've paid attention to GFG and just win rates, or I think it was a couple months ago, Cirrus was spamming Yone every single game to the point of where it was banned out in most of their series against them. So he's finally getting the opportunity to actually pick it up here, and the answer is Echo from Royal here. Taking a little bit of a step back, I did 100% expect to see. Wow. Okay, Lee Sin.
You expected to see what? Excuse
I
me.
expected to see top lane bans, but I was not expecting to see Daniel on Lee Sin of all champions.
Okay.
That is the oh, and there's a nice Xerath pick to round it out. I would expect that top lane. You know that would make a lot of sense.
Oh, that's the disrespect. Oh,
Oh man.
picking it
Oh.
against Royal, probably on top lane, but still, definitely a call out to Royal.
Yes.
Yeah, and actually, I had a chance to speak to Cirrus a few days ago, and he did say to me that Yone was his best champ. One of his best champs, but I'm gonna say best champ just to make it spicy.
Argue that it's Swark's best champ, but I guess we could have a fight about that one real quick. Anyway. Well, we'll leave that up to discussion. As far as it goes for the draft here, I am excited to see how this plays out. Just looking at those comps there, I'm curious as to how exactly they're going to be matching, because I do believe that the main difference that we have here is that we have a 2 weak side top laners that are now playing fairly aggressive champions, and that is uncharacteristic from what I've expected from these teams to begin with. I am curious to see how that one will play out. Let's go with the predictions based off of what we've seen here so far. I'll flip it around here, and I'll go first. I 100% think that CR can actually bring it back in this one. I think that if we're looking at how they're going to execute, it's once again it's going to be on Daniel, but just that's because they put him now on a pick that should win the lane. Man, a lot of this is resting on his shoulders this time for sure. But overall, I do believe that they should be able to take advantage of their strengths here that they put together, and bring that to a win. Stefano, on to you.
I do think CR does have a much better team comp that fits the playstyle, though I still got to give it to GFG. I think that a lot of the win condition from CR is their ability to win lane in specifically bottom and top lane, and I don't know if the bottom lane is strong enough in the 2v2 against GFG's bot lane, and I don't know if Daniel is going to have that solo carry potential, so I'm going to go with 2-0 for GFG.
Okay. Natural, where are we taking it with you?
This is a tough one, but if I'm honest, I've got to give it to GFG, and that's for one specific reason: is because we have a top lane Lee Sin on Daniel, and no offense to Daniel, but Lee Sin is a pretty mechanically hard champion. The one thing that's nice about Lee Sin top is that it's actually pretty easy to win lane on Lee Sin top. The problem comes in later on into the game, right?
Yes.
When you actually have to make those plays, and you have to make those insects. I'm not too sure if Daniel can pull it off. On the other hand, Mordekaiser, pretty easy. You just press R, you take them to your vacation place or whatever, and you just kill them 1v1. So, yeah, my money's on GFG. I'll say that.
And Kang, I'll leave it up to your astute analysis that you've been Actually, ironically, it's just based on the order. You're last again. Actually, I
Yeah,
didn't even
yeah.
consider that. It's back to your opinion. And what do you got? I know you got a few words.
You know what? I'm pretty jacked up on Red Bull right now. I have faith. I think that Daniel's gonna have the biggest glow up of the season on the Lee Sin. He's gonna hard carry 1v9 late game, and Casually Reformed are gonna tie the series.
Wow, that Red
Amen
Bull
to
is
that.
good, huh? That is some good copium you got there in your Red Bull, man.
Oh man. Okay, so we got a split analyst desk here. We got 2 and 2. We got me and Kang believing in CR, and we got Stefano and Natural believing in GFG. Let's see if they can live up to the test of time, and if we're gonna be we're gonna be seeing it go in either one of the directions, and then we can flame whoever loses that analyst desk prediction. That's for sure. I know Kang will for sure. But yeah, let's bring it out. We'll go to our competitive integrity break, and let's see how it all rolls out from there. See you guys in a bit.
You want to do this one?
Oh, yes, I will. I will, in fact, bring this game to the viewers as we get into the second game of tonight. Casually Reformed versus George Foreman Grill. Of course, George Foreman Grill took the first game. Now, with revised team composition and draft, it looks like Casually Reformed, they might be looking for a sneaky little invade here. They might find Dirty Phil here. He's waiting in this bush. He's going to see them. He's just going to run away, put that ward down. And this Mordekaiser might just be running away with his life for now. As it looks like just some wards will be exchanged for now.
All right, that was. No, I like something like that by CR. You know, obviously trying to get a good early game advantage. They're gonna definitely need it this game. A lot of their champions spike really hard at 2 items as opposed to 3. Kaisa is really strong at 2 items. So is something like Leona, something like the Lee Sin. Whereas it takes a little bit more time for GFG to scale up. They need to get those few items on Flash. They need to get those few items on Yon for him to be super effective. Um, and Zillion as well gets incredibly strong as the game goes on. So not a bad play by CR. Unfortunately, doesn't work, but no harm, no foul in this case.
Yeah, no, no harm, no foul indeed. As Sean will actually be spotted on this ward that I believe Cirrus dropped, as we see that inventory being emptied out of that one little spying ward. As Sean, he's just going to complete his red buff, go and head over to his Raptors. Swerk, both junglers starting in the bot side, so most likely going to end up meeting into the top side of the map. Now, the 2v2 in the top lane at this point in the game, or at least at the point in the game where they will meet, which should be around 3:30 or so, most likely going to favor the Lee Sin. Lee Sin, very good in 2v2 situations.
Yeah, Lee Sin, very good in 2v2 and very strong early as well. He basically, level 2, gets 4 abilities compared to everyone else's 2. We'll see if he can capitalize on that. You see now, just farming. We can see in terms of junglers, both of them have taken the same-ish clear route. They're probably going to both be going for closer to a full clear. So as you predicted, once again, it will be a little bit late on the gank top lane, but definitely more of a controlled and not super aggressive early jungle path from these junglers.
Yeah, and I'm a little surprised because I thought I saw Swark heading over to that Gromp, but it doesn't look like he took it. I might have reset or something along those lines. Asir's here. It's his level 3, so he's just going to use that E for a bit of training. Yone's training pattern is really boring. He basically just E's in, does as much damage as possible, and E's back out. And then he just waits. As I say that, Sirius here. He's looking like a gankable opponent for Sean right now. They're going to loop around. They find Sirius. He's just going to expand the flash. Unfortunately, we don't see it on the map as Daniel also going to have to expand the flash here. So both junglers taking the same path, but yanking different lanes, but getting the same result. Just going to be a flash. As GFG's bot lane here, they're getting pushed in. And of course, with the Sejuani here, they have to respect it. But both junglers actually just going to be handshaking scuttles on the opposite sides of the map.
Yeah, you know, that was. Can we give a shout out to Directed Cam, who somehow, with 2 fights going on, focused on the only lane that wasn't fighting? Shout out to that. Shout out to them, of course. We can see obviously Flash traded topside on CR and mid lane for GFG. GFG. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit worse for the Yone, he doesn't have quite as easy time as escaping as someone like the Lee Sin, but on the other hand, that is going to make it quite a bit easier to survive for Dirty Phil.
Yeah, absolutely. So both flashes down, they're going to be a little complex as the Zenith's Blade does connect onto Bog. Bog, he has his flash, but he uses it quite late. He has already taken so much damage. All it needs is just a little bit more damage. Sean, he flashes for it, and he might not even die. The heal comes through from Harley in perfect picture frame as Swark here actually finding a gank in the mid lane on Royal. He expanded his flash, but still dies. So very well played there from Swark, finding a kill in the mid lane while his bot lane gets first blooded.
Yeah, you know what? I've played so many games on Zillion, and something like Leona Kaisa is absolutely something you can survive against, but it is also very hard to. If you get stunned up, you're so squishy when you don't have R, you get pretty much blown up. You really have to be on it with the speed ups to make sure you don't get it as a gank comes to Harley bot lane.
Yeah, this gank is looking pretty rough. As Zizzer's here, he's actually going to have the 5 plasma stacks. Harley is going to proc it, but he doesn't have the damage as Zizzer's here. Most likely going to try and pick that one up. Yes, he will. Very well played there from Swark to find the gank onto Harley that was recalling. I believe that was warded, actually. Yeah, I think that bush was warded, and he was just recalling on a ward. So very well done there. A bit greedy from Harley there to recall in that bush. As actually Zizzers is now recalling in that bush and getting collapsed on, as you can see on the minimap. But he's already gone. So there you go. If you want to make a greedy recall, just do it faster.
Yeah, yeah, that's some good advice. If you want to do something, just do it good. Uh, No, but of course, as you were saying, a nice kill by the side of JFG. Importantly, that did go to Zizzers on the Ash, which gives him the Noon Quiver advantage. It's only about 600 gold, but that matters tremendously at this point in the game. The other two kills both went onto the tank junglers for both teams. Obviously, not an ideal place to put gold, but not absolutely not the worst. Any kill is better than no kill as we go on. And but after all this, it is just going to be 300 or almost 400 gold lead for GFG.
Absolutely, here is Harley. He's looking for Bog, but he doesn't know that Swark is on the other side of this bush, so he might be caught
Yep,
out here. And
sums.
yes, he is. Harley, he doesn't get hit by the Zac E. And Swark, he doesn't find a target for his Q, so he doesn't manage to get that pull back. So Harley's just going to survive for now. No need for a flash or anything along those lines there. As now both junglers still kind of hovering around this bot side with the red spawning back up. So they will most likely be looking for another gank either mid or bot, especially with this dragon now. Infernal Drake first of the game.
Yeah, Infernal Drake is definitely going to be nice for either team to pick up early. That is going to mean that it is going to be an Infernal Soul going forward for either team as Sierra's going for a nice trade on Royal. He is down with the Ignite in the Ignite in this lane. He opted for the TV, but even still able to maintain that CS lead. Wait, what? Did Shork just get executed? And
he just got executed.
And Dirty Phil TP'd so that he wouldn't lose Grom.
That is so funny as the enchanted crystal arrow connects onto Murphy. And Murphy here is more than likely going to get run down. Actually, okay, yes, he will. He's going to get isolated Q by that Mordekaiser. It does a lot of damage if you're isolated. So that's going to be a kill as the TSM logo will be flashed as he recalls back to base. That is the funniest play I've ever seen. As Sears here, he's looking on to Daniel. He has the E, he has the ultimate. But it's most likely just going to be a trade. And yeah, Yone, super interactive champion, by the way. He just runs in and then he goes back. But yeah, that is a very creative play. And I'm honestly, I'm not mad about it because it worked at the end of the day.
I'm mad about it because it did work. How do you have the audacity to do something so stupid and still have it pay off? Dirty Phil spending GP. He goes to the bottom lane. That doesn't even put him too far down in CS. He's about 5 down, but Sierras was able to catch his wave top, so ends up being for the better. Yeah,
Daniel going in here, but it doesn't look like he's going to find any type of lethal damage. As Sean here, he's going to get caught out by the Mordekaiser. Also, he doesn't get anything off of that, and Dirty Phil is just going to take that kill. So very well played there from Dirty Phil. 2 kills up on his opponent laner, though I will say that those kills were kind of spoon-fed to him. It definitely feels like a bit of a silver spoon kind of aeroplaning itself into his mouth more than himself actually outplaying anything. But now we're looking at a GFG lead again.
Yeah, GFG having a lead this early is really not what you want for CR. CR had to be the one making the plays, had to be the one with an advantage pushing these objectives. It's going to be very hard for them to come back. They get outscaled in just about every lane as Short goes for something mid.
Ooh, yeah, Swerk here. He almost finds that Q. Most likely it wouldn't have resulted in a kill, as Royal, of course, still had that ultimate to bring him back to safety. But still something to look out for is, even though I can see the GFG scaling side of things, I definitely think there's still some space for Harley and Royal to do some things. You know, they have quite a lot of CC in setup, and Echo and Kai'Sa scale just fine. So it's not like it's doomed or anything. We're not completely out skilled here. As Daniel actually, he goes in, but now Mordekaiser is so strong. Those 2 items as well as the double buffs, he is menacing. As GFG take this first dragon of the game, that is going to be a very late dragon at 10 minutes. So that means that the soul at minimum is, I can't do math, I believe at 20 minutes? No.
25.
30 minutes. Yeah.
One of the two. I can't do math either.
Yeah, I can do math. I graduated
Analyst,
high
by the
school.
way. Yeah.
As Daniel here, he's just going to be clearing waves. He cannot fight this Mordekaiser anymore. Super strong. As it looks like Sean might be looking for a bit of a gank here. Both junglers again in the bot side. Really bot side focused game here from both junglers. Let's see if we have a 3v3 situation. Maybe as the hawk shot will spot Sean out, and he's just going to make his way up to the mid lane.
Yep, little bit of a lull. We saw also Zizzers did have to burn the flash because he was a little bit too far up against the Leona. Obviously something you could never do, but a very easy mistake to make. Leona is just one of those champions where if she can see you, you're already probably dead. So Zizzers making a good flash there as they're waiting for something in the bush. If the stun lit.
What?
Oh, he's shooting him mid. He's shooting him mid. He's shooting him mid. Okay.
What?
That was like the TP play volume 2. Is
Oh my god.
Flashed. And we see Soraka drinking Red Bull once again. From Bog. I'm kind of just more confused at this game than anything else. First with the TP, and then having a good opportunity to ult them, and then throwing his ult mid instead. That's definitely a mix-up, is what that is. So, unfortunately, doesn't end up working. But did cost Bog to flash. But overall, could definitely be worse for GFG. They didn't leak anything. A short looks mid lane.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to rinse my eyes out for that one. With some Red Bull, of course. I just rinsed my eyeballs out with that. As Murphy and Harley here, it's going to be clearing some vision. You know, as an Ashe player myself, I get it. Arrows are hard. But, wow. I don't know if that was like predicting a flash or something, but Jesus. As Sean here, looking to kind of ghost Royal, as I'm pretty sure they know. Yeah, they know. They know that the pig is there because of the proc of the passive. So they're just gonna walk away from that one. As now Zizzers, he has his Kraken Slayer, pretty big power spike. Very decent item on Ashe. One thing that you kind of do need to have on Ashe if you really want to take very strong 2v2s is the Berserker's Greaves, and he doesn't have those yet. So we're gonna have to look out for that one as Bog here, just clearing out some vision. And for now, we're at a bit of a stale state compared to the game one. It's not looking as stompy for sure.
Yeah. It's definitely not. As Sean's going topside, Dirty Field sees him coming, but it's not in time.
Yeah, absolutely. But keep in mind that ultimate, it transforms any gank into a 1v1, and this is what we're seeing right now. Wow, that Q actually goes through the stun, being buffered by Dirty Phil, but Sean doesn't go down. So Dirty Phil is just going to be fine, while Daniel and Sean going to have to run out of that one. Honestly, very lucky that Sean didn't die there. But Dirty Phil just going to be chilling here. And this is why it's so hard to gank a Mordekaiser if you don't have a QSS.
Yeah, especially as someone like Sejuani, maybe if you were a little bit more of a fighter, if you had ironically, a Lee Sin in the jungle, maybe you can gank, but with tank, when you have a tank and when you have a Mordekaiser that's this strong, that has so much damage while being so tanky, there is no chance that you can gank Mordekaiser if he has his ulti up, and even if he doesn't, still a good chance he kills you. So well played by Dirty Phil, knowing his limits, just pushing up, not backing down from the fight, and it's gonna give his team a lot of tempo. We can see Schwark is now 18 CS up onto the enemy jungle, as well as getting the scuttle now. Schwark doing a good job of farming while still providing lots of pressure for his teammates.
Yeah, absolutely. Swerk definitely looking like the better jungler, at least so far. Though, don't be toxic to your junglers. Don't say jungle diff. It's me.
It's clearly a support diff every game,
Clearly.
no matter what happens.
Honestly, jungle diff is always support diff.
That's true. That's true.
Let's be real.
Yeah,
support is, the secondary jungler, so in theory, jungle diff is support diff. But regardless, we do have this second Drake of the game being spawned. It is going to be the Earth Dragon, the Mountain Dragon, if you want the correct terminology, as this is most likely going to go towards GFG. Actually, Sean, he dashed into the pit. Unfortunately, our directed camera doesn't want to show it. Oh, okay. So he went over the pit, and he actually flashed over the wall to get out. So a bit mistimed there, as the second Drake will indeed be going over to GFG, as we now have the Cloud Soul going to be the soul for this game. Obviously, not the best, though there are some champions that can use it quite effectively on GFG's side, notably that Zilean ult being reduced cooldown is pretty good, as well as the Ashe and the Mordekaiser ult, definitely useful, but, not the most overpowered.
Yeah, CR's got to be counting their blessings that it wasn't an Ocean Drake. Ocean Drake would have made it so hard for them to do any damage. Cloud Drake still obviously good, as you mentioned with Concilium, but I also do want to bring up with Soul. A lot of GFGs actually have a really strong air soul with the bonus movement speed from Zac, Yone, even Zillion Ashe can reposition very easily with it. So definitely not a slouch for the air drake. Still, obviously not what you want to see, but picking it up free isn't going to hurt at all. And I do just want to talk about the CS a little bit. At the moment, we see obviously top lane, it's pretty even in CS, but that is with a very hard early game jungler like Lee Sin. To counteract the 2-0 of the Mordekaiser. Mid lane, it's going GFG's favor, and bot lane, it's going GFG's favor as well. And in all of these lanes, it should be the CR with the advantage. So not what you want to see for someone with more mid to early game team comp. At this point, they really want to be in a position where they have a lead, but GFG has done such a good job shutting it down. They got the gold lead, and once again, they're not taking risks, they're not making plays, they're just playing this very methodical and slow.
Absolutely, again, GFG by the book team here, as Dirty Phil, he's first on the move. Daniel actually isn't there, he has the teleport, as now the Mordekaiser ult was expanded on Sean. Sean, will he actually be able to tank the damage? He does, but not for long enough, as that isolated Q once again takes his life, as we have a 2v2 fight in the bot lane. Zillion ult comes through onto Bog. Zizzers, he has the arrows to make it work, but does he have the damage? Yes, he does. That final proc from the Kraken Slayer will take Harley's life. Murphy here, he's in a 1v2 situation, and he most likely will not have the damage. No, he will not. The double kill comes through from Zizzers, and that is on the other side of the map. Actually, both Sean that we saw earlier in Royal going down, so this is a 4-0, and it is a slower game than the last one, but you have to think that this game is going exactly as planned for GFG.
Yeah, that is quite obviously just a matchup inexperience by the side of CR. You can't force against something like a Zillion Ashe and make the Zillion use his ultimate and still go for the extended fight. Ashe is going to do so much more damage over time than something like a Kai'Sa Leona. As soon as they got the ult off, they should have just backed up and that misplay is going to cost them a double kill. That's going to give this Ashe so much gold. She's going to back and probably get 2 components to her item. It's probably going to be Zeal. She's Zeal as well as like double dagger or something. That's going to be so hard as
Scissors.
they're making a play.
Yeah, Scissors actually hit that enchanted crystal arrow. Not sure why. I think he was just looking for a play with Swark. But yeah,
It might not have been a play. It might have just been a power move. Just throw it out. Just I can hit you whenever I want. Don't step to me.
Yeah, I don't care. My ultimate is low, as Harley is just going to face check these bush. Not in time to cancel Scissors' back, but honestly, I don't even think that he wanted to cancel his back. I think he loses that. But regardless, Seer's here. He might be looking for a bit of a play. He lands 1 Q. The binding, or the soul binding, will... Okay, it doesn't look like the fight in top lane will extend any longer as Royal. He gets stunned up. Will the CC chain be enough? Yes, it will be. Not even having the chance to use his ultimate there, going to be taken down by Bog.
We saw there the power of Zillion being able to lock down someone for so long with his time orb on his E to slow people. It looks like he, I don't know if he's necessarily maxing it, but he's definitely put more than 1 point into it at this point in the game. So he's going to be so deadly. It is very good when you have someone like Ashe, as Short goes in and a TP comes out.
It looks like a bit of a 4v3 here in favor of GFG, though. And again, CR are behind, so I don't know they have the tools. The enchanted crystal arrow goes wide again. Daniel here, most likely going to be dead. He's dashing onto the other side of the Mordekaiser ult, but it's not enough distance. And now with this this cloud point, this cloud soul point, excuse me, coming up, this is most likely going to be GFG's. And they're just finding picks all around the map. Even when the enchanted crystal arrow goes wide, you just find those picks. Dirty Phil, unironically, roaming as Mordekaiser and just basically putting down the baby cage and finding kills all over the map.
Yeah, and as we see, the 3rd dragon gets taken away by GFG. So that is like a 26-minute dragon. I don't know which one of us couldn't do math, but there you go. As we get in, GFG is in such a good spot right now.
Ult Scissors! Just go!
Just go.
Yes, thank you! Okay,
Bog
they finally
has
going
ult.
onto Scissors. The Zillion ult will be used. The Q from the Leona will lock him down, as well as the follow-up damage. No, it's a disaster. Murphy gets the shutdown as Bog here. He might be chain CC'd again. Yes, and this time Harley takes the kill. Okay, this is what I wanted to see. I'm sorry, I have to ramble about this. I'm losing my mind. Scissors is playing so aggressively on a pick that can't be this far forward without a cleanse until Leona Sejuani. You get chain CC'd, and as Ashe, you are immobile. You have no way of outplaying someone forcing on top of you. You need to be able to kite. You need to have space. And it's so easy for Leona and Sejuani to break that space and crowd control you to death. And finally, Casually Foreman find the angle to do so.
Yeah, well played by Casually Formed. They got the shutdown. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, it did go onto Murphy, which is not what you want to see. You see now Kaisa, if she had that shutdown, she would have been able to get another Coalfield Warhammer or pickaxe or whatever builds into that collector item. I don't know. Don't play AD carry. Sorry. Anyway, they would have got a lot more gold onto that Kaisa, which would have been so essential if we compare it to Scissors. On the other side, Kraken Slayer Runans with Zillion, CR is going to be lucky if they can move half an inch in these fights with the amount of CC, with the Zillion, Ashe, Zach on top of the Onar. It's going to be so hard for CR to effectively maneuver in these team fights, but they might not have to if they just go for a pick on Dirty Phil.
Dirty Phil here, but reminder, he has that ultimate, so it doesn't matter how many people you have there. Harley is going to use, breaking Dirty Phil's ankles as he used both of his dashes there to survive.
Collapsing.
Dirty Phil is so tanky. Okay, they finally managed. Oh, but that is a massive 4-man stun from Bog. And Sean here, he's coming in. The E-flash. The flash only lands onto Sean, and he gets deleted by Harley. That engage looked good until it didn't. And again, a massive 4-man bomb from Bog. We see why this man has a 70% win rate on this champion as Scissors. He is speeding. He is flying this marksman slows down the enemies and makes it so hard for them to maneuver fights. But do they actually manage to find an engage? Yes, they do. Swark, he finds the kill onto Daniel. Harley, he's taken very low. Swark, he manages to find that E again on top of Harley, and he dies. The HP bar is now very low onto CR. They're forced to back out as GFG. They bring this team fight from a doomed position to an equal trade, 2 for 2.
Oh man, GFG, they overextended for a moment, but they were able to capitalize and get a little bit more out of it. Still debatable if it's worth. Probably is, but they have so many towers and they're so far gold advantage. It doesn't even matter. Their soul is in a minute 30, and it's going to be on CR if they can stop this soul from being taken. But how do they even do that? Mordekaiser is 4-1. He's got so much armor. There's no one that can effectively kill him. Yon hit his 2-item power spike with the 100% crit chance. Zach has Medjai's now. Okay.
It's the classic.
Yeah, the classic. Ash is almost at her LDR. She has Last Whisper, so the Sejuani tank stats aren't even going to be too big of a deal for her at this point in the game. They're so far ahead on GFG. CR has to establish vision early and try to get a good flank or a good team fight, a good pick, a good something before this fight happens. Because if GFG is allowed to play this into it on their terms, the game and the series is going to go to them.
Absolutely agreed there, as Lord Dominic's regard definitely going to be doing a lot of work for Zizzers as he's trying to shred through this front line. As now the Baron is actually started from casually deformed. They think they're being sneaky, but no, they find the ward. And of course, that hawk shot, so annoying to deal with when you're trying to sneak these through. And the enchanted crystal arrow from downtown hits Murphy. But they don't actually have the damage. Dirty Phil is going to be stun locked before he can manage to reach that Leona. But Cirrus, he's running so fast thanks to these Cloud Soul shrines. As Murphy here, he's just trying to delay as much as possible. He's most likely going to be dead. And that is a 2-man ultimate from the Yone. And this so much damage from Zizzers. He's just free hitting. Bog just going to use the ultimate on top of himself. And he's going to be safe. As Daniel here, can he actually do anything? No, he can't. As Zizzers, he tower dives the top lane, Lee Sin. And the kill goes over to Cirrus as GFG, they look out to close this game out as well as the series.
Oh, what an amazing Yon ult from Cirrus. He got 4 people, lines it up, so Bog follows up with the stun. The CC lock happens. They walk out. Swark does a great job tanking tower to his cane. Zizzers also knows his limits, tanks a few tower shot, and gets out okay. They end up getting the top inhibitor. They haven't got the objective. Importantly, both Baron and Dragon are on the table for CR if they want to make a last-ditch YOLO effort. But the side of GFG is running there fast.
Absolutely, it looks like Swark starting it up, even with those low HP bars, it doesn't really matter. He has that passive to keep him alive. And even dead, you know, you have the Zillion to back you up anyways. As, wow, he actually goes in. Sean, no! Okay, wait, how does that happen? As Sean was in the pit and Swark came in late, but somehow it's actually Swark that claims the dragon and not Sean. That was a very interesting play, but nonetheless, GFG get the soul, and now they're looking for the final team fight of this game. Swark, he looks in with the E. He found Murphy, but can they actually find the damage to kill him off? No, they can't. Looks like Casually Reformed are going to walk away for this one. But I can't imagine that they're going to be walking away for much longer.
Yeah, nowhere to walk to as GFG barrels down this mid lane. They have the mountain, so they're not even bothering with the Baron. They're so far ahead. They're just going to walk in and kill them all. There is just diving tower, doing Yon things. There's not much that can be done for the side of CR as Zizzers pokes away at the tower.
Yeah. Yone having that that echo ult onto his E. Pretty strong, turns out. Pretty useful tool for diving.
Good analogy, actually.
Yeah. It's kind of Cho'Gath ult on Q type of thing. And these ultimates are on such a low cooldown on GFG. It's something that we have to mention thanks to the Cloud Soul. You can basically shoot out enchanted crystal arrows whenever you want and find that pick. As Swark here, he's looking onto the side. He's looking for some type of flanking gauge. No, he's just going to E backwards towards his team. This turret, this is the last fight as Swark is getting engaged on. But no, they don't actually have the damage. The Zillion ult will be used on top of him, and the damage here from Scissors is absolutely insane. The re-engage comes through, the Enchanted Crystal arrow hits, and that is going to be another kill coming through. Harley, he flashes away from the Mordekaiser E. Scissors, he's running him down with that Runons. He has the damage, and this is a wipe. GFG take the second game as well as the semifinals. Scissors here. Will he manage to find another kill? No, he won't. Still, that is a mid lane echo. You have to be careful. Royal takes another kill, but that is all he is going to take as GFG and Dirty Phil. Yeah, he's doing party things. Bring out that boombox. You won semifinals. Congrats.
George Foreman Grill playing against Casual Reformed, casually wrecking them, making it look so easy. Easy for them. It was slow, it was methodical, but they didn't make a lot of mistakes, and they were the one to get the Dragon Soul in both games. They were the one to beat the Nexus. Well played by GFG, and a good try by CR.
Yeah, all right. Bring the flame up for the guys who were on the analyst desk that believed in CR. Come on, we can take it. We can take it. We've been prepping for it midway
Believers,
through
Keck
the game.
W. Believers, Keck W.
So to give some extra flame, I also put GFG for both games. The only person to do this. So I'm not saying that I'm the superior analyst. I'm just saying that you guys are all the inferior ones. As we continue,
That's
but
implying just what you said, though.
yeah, but I didn't
You
say it.
weren't.
I only implied it.
I
No,
see.
but
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
jokes aside, well played to GFG. They played that. They played that very well. Kang, Lucan, break it down for us. What did CR do wrong, and what made GFG so successful?
Now, I don't want to harp on Daniel because I feel like I've done it too much, but I'm going to have to. They really put an effort into giving Daniel, who's always been, the way I've seen him at least, always been a really good weak side top laner. They gave him somebody that they needed to have faith in and to win the lane for no good reason, if that's a good way of putting it. Like while they did have like tanks in the jungle and bot side in the Leona in the Sejuani, like if you put him on like just a standard bruiser that can play a safe top side, I feel like he'd be fine, right? Like he'd still be relevant in some way. Like heck, I mean, you probably could have put him on like Karma top even in some capacity, and it would have worked out. But putting him on Lee Sin was when he was down. I think it was like 10 CS when they were even and you're playing Lee Sin against a Mordekaiser. I feel like that should never be the case. Correct me if I'm wrong, any top lane experienced players here, but that should not happen. Outside of that, it was kind of very slow in how it happened initially with the breakdown of the lanes, but a lot of it came down to strictly the way that it cascaded from the top side and putting effort there and instead of anywhere else. We did see the early flash for flash from both top sides on opposing sides, and from there nothing really came out of it. So yeah, as much as we could talk about CR and how they didn't win and how we could harp on Daniel, they did play a fairly good game overall. When we were looking at the gold graphs and just how it was matching up between them, you could say that it did not feel like at certain points they were up 8 kills. It looked like they still had the potential to swing it. So we can give them credit in that aspect. But ultimately, what I'd like to talk about is the victors. We can talk about CR as much as you want, and they played a good game, but GFG played better. George Foreman definitely grilled their opponents this one, seared them away in a way with Cirrus on on the Yone and brought themselves to a victory just pretty handedly. We, as much as we wanted to judge the the Zillion bot lane, that worked out well for them too. Just everything they put together, they played it really well. Yeah, that's what I got to say. What about you guys? Where are you guys looking at on GFG to praise them here? Because they definitely they should have a Zach ban. I'm thinking for the next series, 100%.
Yeah. I was about to say, I think really what the series came down to was not the mid lane, as I had
No,
predicted, but Swark on Zac taking over the series for me. I think if you're a team trying to make it to finals, you might want to keep Swark Zac in the back of your mind because that was
So you're
pretty
saying
insane.
jungle gap?
Uh As a neutral analyst, I am obligated not to say that. But what I will say is that Swark's Zach was pretty clean.
Yeah, no,
He
100%.
definitely had an impact. That's to say the
Yeah,
least. We were also discussing at one point. I believe as much as we want to give credit to him, there was an interaction that we needed to discuss where he E'd forward and then flashed like it would affect the landing spot of the
Yeah.
Does
Zac.
that work?
I don't think that works. I
Okay.
want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a mechanic that exists with Zac. Oh, to say the least, but that's the real only criticism I can really bring to Swark there. Just say that much. Oh man,
Yeah.
so
But I do want to mention about Zach. I think obviously Short played amazing, but I really feel like CR did not do a good job warding against specifically Zach.
no.
Zach is absolutely one of those champions that you need unique warding patterns. He's someone like Fiddle Cassidy, where he's so hard countered by vision. You need to know where to ward and how to play against that elastic slingshot from the mile long engage. And I don't think CR was able to do that at all through either games. That being said, I don't want to take a lot away from Shork. He obviously played amazing, as you guys mentioned. He was always where he needed to be, and he was always forcing the fight. So, still, great job by Shork.
Yeah, I want to mention that I did see Casualty Reform. They did put that word kind of like up around the below the tri bush. I did see them put that word down once. So, I mean, they did do it a few times, but yeah, I agree with you. But I don't even necessarily think it's a vision problem. I think it's just like a respect where the jungler is problem.
Yeah.
Jungle tracking is very important, and there is like, oh, I'm looking at my map like every 5 seconds. That's just like general map awareness. And then there's being able to read the map. Where is Swark? Where is this Zac? You know he's coming for a gank, right? And being able to kind of read that map and track the jungler presence and then doing the appropriate thing in response is something else completely different. And I think if Casualty Reformed kind of can fine tune that and hopefully improve that, or if any other teams coming up and contesting this Zac can manage to do, then the Zac is going to be a lot less impressive. But another thing that I want to mention is also the Sejuani in game 2. Really a little confusing to me. Why would you ever gank this Mordekaiser that's up so far ahead? You know he's going to ult you. You know it's going to happen, right? Like, he's not going to forget to press his R button. That's some, like, serious ego to think that somehow you're going to outplay a Mordekaiser that's fed 1v1 is Sejuani. And on the other hand side, you have their bot lane, Ash Zillion, super easy lockdown from both your Leona and your Sejuani. If Ashe gets ulted in the face by any ultimate, she doesn't have cleanse. She is locked down and most likely dead, right? Even with the Zillion ult, it doesn't really matter because you have all of the follow-up CC and those cooldowns from Leona are so low. So I definitely feel like some better bot side kind of gank preparation and some better gank execution maybe could have punished this Ashe that was at times the positioning. Like if I was that Ashe, I would be dead. Like I don't know how it happens that Scissors like gets away with that positioning sometimes. But yeah, regardless,
Yeah.
very well played to George Foreman Girl. I think they played amazingly. And Casualty Reformed, I think they're a very solid team, but they definitely need to work on a bit of that kind of jungle presence and working around the jungler type of mindset.
No, 100%. Like it's very much going to be down to how they're going to be approaching this next week even too. Like with looking at how the jungle has been changed. I'm not 100% familiar with the jungler of Bar because if we're looking forward to that week now. Sorry, actually, we haven't reached the conclusion between Bar and JBB, so I guess I'm making an assumption there. Going for the next week's
Okay.
game in the finals. Sorry, in the finals, you're gonna have to be paying attention to how this meta is going to develop, and we're going to have to look towards Bar and JBB and how they're going to be, what they're going to take away from this game for their expectations, and how they're going to be squaring up in their next matchup here. So, yeah, no, I'm curious to see what you guys think for next week's matchup as well too. Or sorry, not next week's matchup, but Monday's matchup with JBB and Bar. If we have any expectations set for that.
That's going to be on Monday is the semifinals?
Yeah,
It's the
I think
second
they had
semifinals, right?
they had a scheduling, yeah.
Okay.
I think that gonna be. I mean, obviously, Birds aren't real as the favorites to win the tournament as a whole, but I mean, Joe's big biceps are no slouches. I think they have what it takes to keep it competitive, and if Birds aren't prepared, then I could easily see Joe's big biceps just surprising everybody. But honestly, it comes to how well these teams are prepared, how well these teams play even on the day. Like you have a bad day, you could be the best team in the world, but you have a bad day here, your season's over. So you know, you hope that they'd come out to play on tournament day, but we're just gonna have to see on Monday.
All right, and I have discussed it as well here too with our local admin. We are going to be getting an interview with Swark. Kieran's going to try to get him into the caster. We can maybe get him on a bit of a
There?
maybe not video as far as it goes to get this all to work, but just for a couple of questions at least for what I'd like to consider to be the star player of that series there and in the way that he was playing against Sean there. Just a couple of questions if you guys have to ask him. We'll start with Stefano because you were definitely throwing some praise that way too. So
Okay, so my biggest question is I saw in chat that you said you can flash with
You
your
gotta
left.
wear like a necklace, sure.
oh
Yeah. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, perfect. So I've seen it a few times in different. Actually, we got the necklace on now, the George Foreman necklace. Chain. Hey, careful.
You
Sorry, bud.
got multiple
Foreman
George Foreman
chain.
grill members there.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we need to
Here
get.
we go.
Can we get
So we
that?
got CRS in the background and Bog in the background as well. We all live together. So the
Oh, I
Zach
see.
E Flash interaction, I've seen it like once or twice. It's not very well known, but I have seen it done. So I think that there's like a frame specifically when you're landing that you can flash and knock somebody up. I think I've seen it in one Zach tutorial that I searched up, but it's like not commonly known at all. So I knew people were gonna flame me, but I had to go for it.
I respect that. That's
No.
very fair.
No flame coming from me, bro. I
Large
100%
cojones.
respect it.
Okay.
Say.
Little bit of flame. What was the Zach execution into the Mordekaiser TP,
Oh,
and how
yeah.
did that work?
What
Oh,
the
that was-
hell, man?
Oh man, I was laughing so hard. That was amazing. So I was kiting both camps, and I was like, "This is gonna be really close," but I had to go for it. So I just kept fighting it. I was like, "This is all or nothing." And then Nagy, so Dirty Phil, TPs on me last second out of his own whim. I didn't call for it or anything, and it was just amazing. I was laughing so hard. It was so perfect. So I knew chat was gonna flame us so hard, but sometimes it's all or nothing. You just gotta go for it, and that was one of those moments.
No, but the
Yeah.
worst part is that it ended up working out. Dirty Phil
Yeah.
literally walked bot lane, ulted Leona, I believe, and got the kill.
The kill.
So that's crazy to me. I mean, I would flame Casually Deformed more than you guys because I mean, you guys actually got something out of it. You got a kill.
I mean, like at the same time, how are you going to expect like, oh yeah, their jungler or sorry, their jungler died, and then their top laner decided to randomly TP to where he died at on one of his blobs and roam bot lane. Like that's probably got to be like
That's true.
super unexpected on their side too. Like, why is Mordekaiser here? A random. I was expecting to see him top side. Like, how did he get here so fast? From what ward did he go to? Like, I'd imagine that was probably.
Did they even know that he used TP?
I don't think
No, they
so.
didn't.
They would.
Like he could have roamed.
They saw you top lane like beforehand, so they could have like guessed it, but like, how do you guess that? Like how do you guess that someone just takes a TP into their own jungle then walks at you like a jungler? Like it's not something you think of.
Logan, I got my webcam on too. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, no, we're using a separate program for getting everyone in the video call, so it's not showing you up unfortunately on the screen here. Yeah.
So how that worked out was like after Negi TP'd on me, Dirty Phil. So he TP'd on me, and then he was just like, "Well, I might as well do something with this," and he just strolled on bot lane. Like, might as well do something with it. It actually worked out, so it was perfect. But we were surprised that anything came of that, and just went for it.
Oh, it's definitely Definitely caught everyone off guard. And in fact, it
Yep.
seems like it caught you guys off guard as well too.
Oh,
With
that ash
how-
arrow. That's something
Oh,
else
that
I want to
ash arrow,
mention.
Yeah.
Scissors. Is Scissors available to get flamed?
yeah.
Is that the ash arrow when I was sitting in Tri-Bush there? That one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so how that went down is I was like calling for them to go on them. I was like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And then
Okay.
Bob was like, man, I'm 1 health. What are you talking about? And I was like, oh, okay, I gotcha. So then I start looking back to my jungle. And then Brian's like, let's go for it. And he shoots the arrow totally unexpectedly. I'm not even looking down there. I'm like, oh crap. So then I'm gonna go in. And then I decide not to. So it was just like pure panic, no communication. And we were just like, all right, this is
I
fine.
see.
This is fine.
Alright,
I'm just gonna go back to my
mis-
jungle.
Miscommunications happen. But what's funny to me is that arrow almost hit mid.
Yeah.
It literally almost hit the echo. That would have been like the most 5-head like giga brain moment where it's just like, oh, this arrow is never gonna hit us, and then it just slams into the echo.
There was
Unfortunately,
the
that
two
happened. It
arrows,
looked
yeah.
silly, but
No,
Oh, I don't even know
guess
which arrow that one
Yeah,
was.
I
honestly.
know.
You know which one?
he's
Yeah,
talking about the
he
one that he
was-
set in mid lane initially. There was the other one where you were tri-brush and it just hit the Kaisa and nothing happened out of it. And we're like, wow, all right, well, that's a far way to engage for it. But there was another one that Zizzer sent over from bot lane to mid lane that like Royal just narrowly jumped out of. he
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
he got like the quick sidestep that would have been really nice too.
Me and Bob just talked about it, and we both don't know why Scissor sent that arrow. We had a little team discussion.
All
I
right.
mean, to be fair, if he landed it, I would have hopped back into the call and started popping off out of nowhere. So,
Oh man! All right. As far as it goes, the only last question I could really ask out of you, Swark, there, Jordan. What are you guys thinking for Monday's matchup with Bar against JBB? We've got a pretty interesting matchup as far as to say the least. A little bit unorthodox coming from JBB's side, but you guys have mentioned, at least I've talked to you previously about your praise for Bar and how they play the game, and they were really the only ones that really truly impressed you guys when it came down to how you guys were playing, because they're also the only team that you guys lost to, if I'm not mistaken, as well too. So with that knowledge going forward, the assumption being that you're preparing for Bar, how do you guys see that matchup going, and where are you guys going for it, looking towards the finals at this point now, as you guys have locked in your spot?
Yeah, like you said, our first match was against Bar, right? So we didn't really know what to expect off the start, and we didn't really find our team comps off the start either and what we were good at. Because we've all been playing together for so long, but in a competitive setting, we didn't have our comps and what we should strive for, like especially late game and carry wise and everything. So I think that we found our spot, but after facing Bar, they're the guys to look out for. I think like they're the ones that we're prepping for 100%. Joe's big biceps, like those guys, they put up a good fight against us, but overall, Bar were the people that really stood out to us. They made an impression right off the start for us heading in through this entire thing. We've been preparing this entire time to go back up against them, and that's been our only goal in our head. So between those two, I'm definitely betting on Bar, and they've kind of proved it throughout the entire season. Like they have just absolutely demolished most of the teams that they've played against, with the occasional exception here and there. And that's kind of been the case for us, except for against them as well. Like I don't think that we lost to really anyone throughout the entire season except for Bar. So they're kind of the ones that we're expecting to go up against, and we'll see how that goes.
So isn't he gapped by Kane again in that matchup against them? Because I saw that last game that you guys last game that you guys played, and if I remember correctly, Blue Kane
shots
kind of
fired.
low blow.
ran through the team pretty handedly in that matchup there when you were playing that one. Do you expect to see it again, or are you banning it away, expecting them to bring it out, knowing you as the Kane player that you are?
The Kane pick? Oh man, I don't know if I haven't played Kane in so long. I don't know if I want to pull that out against them. But you know what? It's a good counter pick. So who knows? I might pick it
Hey,
up.
don't divulge your secrets. It's okay. I am personally looking forward to it. It sounds like you guys have a plan. which is also, which is always like super exciting to see like some kind of spicy pick or some kind of spicy strat. So I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that. Bar definitely do look very, very strong, especially in that bot lane. Yeah, I'm super excited looking forward to this final. Oh, it's going to be spicy.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, with that being the case, thanks for popping on the desk here,
Yep.
Swark, and we'll carry it on here, and I guess we'll probably close it out at this point. Thank you for showing up to the first semifinal match of the CECS, the Canadian Esports Championship Series. We will see you again on Monday for the next League of Legends matchup, where we determine who is going to be the opponent for GFG in the finals. Will it be Bar as we predicted, or is Joe's big biceps gonna bring it out and ruin some expectations, to say the least?
I mean, for me, I'm still pretty hyped up on Red Bull Summer Edition. So I'm gonna hype
Like
up
summer.
JBB. I think it's gonna be closer than people think, and I think Joe's big biceps are gonna flex on Birds Aren't Real.
All right. Well, let's close it out there. See you guys next time, and I'm gonna leave it to Stefano because I think he does it a lot better than me in handling the outro. Well, we don't have
Yeah,
we
we
don't have
don't have
Darren on the
Darren
desk.
here.
Yeah, I know,
We
but
don't
I'm
have, we
leaving
don't
it
have
up to
Darren.
you. No. Get it,
Our,
but I'll leave it to you and take it away.
All right. Thank you, everyone, once again for tuning in. As a reminder, thanks again. A huge thank you to our sponsors, Red Bull, because we haven't said their name enough. They can give you wings, and I'm pretty sure they make you happier. That's a scientific fact, citing no one. Thank
We're
you
gonna get
again to
sued.
No Frills for sponsoring us. Stay safe,
I mean,
stay salty. Good night, everyone.
literally says on the can, vitalizes body and mind.
I mean,
Nice.
all right. He's got it. He's got it. Vitalized. Stay vitalized. Drink Red Bull, boys.